I say to you, what do you want for dinner? And you say, oh, anything you want to do. You are not present. You're not showing up. You haven't given me anything to bump into energetically.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glen Gilbert Connection, where we discuss relationship wisdom for the seasoned man. I am your host, Glen Gilbert. Ever feel like your relationship is stuck in survival mode? You're not alone. Today, we sit down with Dr. Jackie Black, a world-class relationship expert who's helped couples reignite intimacy, rebuild trust, and make every day feel like their honeymoon. We talk emotional safety, vulnerability, and how men can show up with clarity and confidence. If you're ready to stop settling and start connecting, this episode is your wake-up call. Tap the link, hit subscribe, and let's get started. Dr. Jackie, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I love talking about this subject. I can't talk about it enough. So I appreciate the opportunity.
I like to start off by doing or have some sort of call to action. A man fresh out of a relationship or struggling in his current one, like what are some first steps he can start doing to make improvements? And, maybe not even just fresh out of a relationship. Maybe he's, like I said, struggling in his current one. What can he do?
So there are two things I just made a note of so I wouldn't forget. Mm-hmm. One is to become very adept and masterful at personal reflection. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And the second one is to become a master of self-compassion. Two processes, I'll say, that help us to go inside. And we have relationships from our hearts. We make connection from our feelings, from our inside self. We have two selves, an inside self and an outside self. And that outside self is our cognitive processes, our thinking, our mind. And then the inside self is our heart. And we are called into relationships to be open-hearted and vulnerable. And we can't be open-hearted and vulnerable with another person unless and until we really know ourselves and we've really befriended, if you will, ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that means self-respect. It means self-awareness. So personal reflection is really important. There's this great thing about human beings that you may not know. And that is when we ask ourselves a question, we answer. There is an answer that we get from ourselves for every question that we ask. Mm-hmm. Personal reflection is really getting to know yourself. And you can ask yourself all kinds of questions. In the beginning, you might ask questions like, what is the gift in this experience? What is one lesson learned that I want to have? Not should, but I want to have. If there was one thing that I did to contribute to what is going on, to what happened, what one thing do I want to know about? And you can ask that question many times over many days or weeks. And whatever you need to know in the moment will be revealed to you by a part of self. Because clients always know what's going on. When we don't know, when we get frustrated, we get confused, those are cognitive processes. That's not a feeling. Confusion, frustration are not feelings. They buy us time until we're ready to know what we already know.
So it's a bit... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to talk about self-compassion, but please.
Well, it's almost, to me, it started sounding like, the confusion and the frustration might be a way of avoiding accountability, not coming to terms maybe with some of the actions or what needs to be done.
So when you say avoiding, and what I say is buying time. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What I always try to do is to look for the positive in whatever we're doing or whatever we're exploring. Not because I have on rose-colored glasses, not because I put a happy face on everything, but because I understand that the processes that we all engage in and the coping mechanisms the defense mechanisms are all there for us. We developed those, most of them, long ago on our own behalf. So what we don't want to do is bat ourselves or blame ourselves. We really want to start with massive curiosity and really be curious about, how did this help me? How is this helping me now? Is this helping me now? What might be a better way for me to think about this or that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'll just say one more thing about avoiding. Hold your thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If we're avoiding something, we're avoiding something for us, not against us and not against anybody else. It's an on our own behalf behavior.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you help couples restore closeness and connection. What would be the first steps for men who feel emotionally disconnected from their partner?
Two things. I want to go back to self-compassion at some point. Mm-hmm. And to answer this question, you're going to love this. If you feel disconnected from your partner, I want you to know that you're firstly, disconnected from yourself. And it's that wonderful mirror. Partnership is this mirror reflecting back to us those things about ourselves that need our attention. So whenever we hear ourselves say anything about our partner, then stop, take a breath, and do a U-turn and say, what do I want to know about me in this situation? If I don't feel connected to her, how connected am I to myself? How could I be more connected? When did I get disconnected? What am I disconnected from? How does being disconnected serve me?
It's always what I started thinking about is, being open to that and being open to like, what can I do? It sounds like, what can I do better in the relationship? And then I started thinking of the opposite of that is, there's nothing wrong with me. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, let's not focus on what can I do better. Mm-hmm. It's the question is, how can I show up? How can I be more present? How can I step into this emotional, physical vulnerability more, less defended, more undefended, more vulnerably?
And how do guys?
When there's a problem in a relationship, it's not your doing self, it's your being self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's really tough for men to get in that vulnerable position, right? Because we have to be rocks. We have to be the stable voice. We have to be there for the significant other, the children. Even at work, it's like if you're in a leadership role, you have to be the voice of reason and calm. It's very, very difficult for guys to be in that vulnerable state. And it sounds like this is one step to start taking to get in that state to improve a relationship.
Human beings have two parts, two equal parts, equally important, equally necessary. And that is the feeling part, the feeling self, and the cognitive self, the thinking self. And we live in a culture, Western cultures, English-speaking countries, Western Europe in addition, where product stream, what are we doing? How fast are we doing it? How much are we getting paid to do it? That product stream is the thing that is valued. Nobody says to us, how are you being today? Right? We don't even ask our children that.
Right.
How are you being today?
Right. I think I'm picturing people kind of pausing, going, wait, what did you say? Well, what?
Exactly. So we focus on doing. The problem is that in relationships, from the time you ask someone out on a date, that first date, all the way through a long-term relationship, those relationships are based on our feelings, our emotions. That's why we focus so much currently on emotional availability, emotional vulnerability, emotional intelligence. We've all heard all those words thrown around, and nobody knows, A, what they mean. That would be our cognitive to understand what they mean. And then, more importantly, how do we operationalize what we know those things to mean? How? How do we step into a relationship more vulnerably? How do I show up? How do I become more present? And when couples are missing each other, they're missing the presence of each other. And today is worse than ever before because you can be talking to me and telling me something, and then I might just check my messages, or I might see who just texted me, and I'm diverting my attention. You might think that that's for a moment, but you've broken connection. You've broken connection. And we can talk about what that does later. But when we talk about safety in relationships, that is one of the biggest things that causes women to feel unsafe because you've broken the connection. Right? You sent the message. You don't have my 100% attention. I'm listening and I'm getting what you're saying. And this is important to me too. No, there's a big price to pay for that in emotionally based relationships.
Right. A man has to be engaged, because if there's no engagement, that's where you can start seeing her going, what is going on? And to make it clear to people listening and to myself as well, it's really important to make sure you're engaged, not just, so the relationship is going well, but to make her feel safe.
And to make you feel connected. If men are doing those kinds of disconnecting behaviors, then the unintended consequence for men is that when you disconnect, you're going to feel disconnected. Let me say one more thing.
Sure.
When you say how, what's one step? Let me say two things. The first thing you want to understand that your attitude about relationships and about stepping in, showing up, being present, your attitude or attitudes about that are bigger than your behaviors, because your attitudes and your values drive your behavior. So if you're not on board, if you haven't bought in to the attitudes of connection, and we know that there are certain attitudes, then all the behaviors in the world will fall on deaf ears. It'll be like a BB off a battleship. Behaviors won't have the impact if you haven't bought in to the attitudes, to your mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was going to say, for clarity, just so I understand, is that the difference between a person's words and a person's actions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. So often, there's this old saying I love, I can't hear what you're saying. Your actions are speaking too loudly.
Right. The volume on that actions is cranked, and I'm not seeing anything or hearing anything else. Yeah, absolutely. I always like to say, follow a person's actions, not their words, and then you can see who they really are. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's love is not a thing. I don't know if you know that. Love is not a feeling. The 5 feeling states are mad, sad, glad, afraid, and guilty. Right? I'm going to say that again. Mad, sad, glad, afraid, and guilty. Did you hear me say love? No. Love is not a feeling. The lights are making my eyes water. So you'll excuse me for just a minute so I don't start.
Oh, it's not the discussion that's getting you misty? Oh my gosh. Just kidding.
Love is a combination of experiences. We feel loved, loving as a result of experiencing being present with a person or present with people. I'll give you a good example. I met my second husband, and our first date I had to cancel because I came down with a cold. I felt terrible. I didn't want to go on a first date feeling crappy. So I called him at 3:00 in the afternoon. And I said, I'm so sorry to do this to you last minute, but I would love to reschedule. Just not feeling well. And he said, no problem. Thank you for letting me know. 6:30, there's a knock on my door. And I got up, I went to the door, and there he is with soup from one of the famous delis in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, I know that you have a big dog, and I thought I would walk your dog for you so you don't have to worry about, getting dressed and schlepping yourself out of the house. Right? Amazing.
So that was impactful, it sounds like. You're like, you can see how you're glowing about just that gesture, just that one gesture. I'm guessing you guys already had a rapport. And he was like, let's go out and let's have a good time. I mean,
yes, we met through friends and had been in a public space with other people 3 or 4 or 5 times. And this was the first time we were going to spend time alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And just that, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that one gesture, like it already kind of sets the stage, or it does set the stage of, hey, this is who I am as a person. I care for you. I hope you're okay. And let me ask you, did he expect anything in return? He's like, okay, so I'm doing this. So I hope that, I'm going to expect us. I'm hoping, or, that we're going to do this a different time. We're going to go out later, because I'm doing this for you, like something in return. Yeah.
Oh, that was absolutely, Gary didn't do any of that kind of stuff. I mean, he had the biggest heart. He was so warm and caring. He had friends from many, well, so did Mark Godey. I am once divorced and twice widowed. So when I talk about my second husband and my third husband, I always wanted to be clear about that. At any rate, thank you. That he was a big warm teddy bear and was always very kind. Now, Mark was also a big warm teddy bear. I've been very, very fortunate in my life. And when Mark walked into my apartment the first time, he took one look at, I had Bernese mountain dogs at that time. They're 130-pound dogs. I'm like 115. And he took one look at her, and they're very well behaved. And she was sitting right beside me. He hit the floor. He sat on the floor and threw his arms around her. It's like, again, love me, love my dog. He didn't just walk in and go, pretty dog or not, or good. No. I mean, I just sort of disappeared, and there he was with the dog.
You can really tell how a person is or who they are if the animals like them. I just seen it. I've seen that, time and time again, where if an animal's like, oh my gosh, and starts, like for dogs, all lovey-dovey and run up to you and they're just all happy to see you, versus, the animal just going, I'm sensing something. That's a really good tip. Right. But I was going to say that I'm seeing a trend in your suitors, the men that you're marrying. Yes, I'm like, I see where you're going. You say that fighting means someone wins and someone loses. How can men shift from conflict to communication that builds trust? Yeah.
So there's a basic fundamental principle that I want to say require all the couples that work with me to buy into, and that is win, win, win. I win, you win, we win. If you're doing any kind of problem solving or decision making, you have to make sure, and you have to run it through that metric. Do you win? Do I win? Do we win? And if somebody doesn't win, then you have to go back to the drawing board and continue to talk and pull a little taffy until you get to I win, you win, we win. The we is that third energy entity that gets created when I step fully into the relationship and you step fully into the relationship. So we have two 100% people who create that third energy. So first, attitudinally, win, win, win. The second thing is curiosity. What do you need? There are surface level needs and higher level needs, or deeper needs. You can go either way. And so when we're talking to each other, we don't want to focus on our surface needs. We want to focus on why do I need this? what is going on for me around this thing, and really talk about it. And there's always the and, right? There's not, can we do this? It's how can we do this and make it work for you and for me. Mm-hmm. When people fight, people are going to disagree. They're going to disagree about points of view, about logistics, that kind of thing. The thing that you want to watch out for is when we hurt each other's feelings unintentionally. And we do and say stupid stuff throughout the life of the relationship. It never gets better. Mm. So what we want to do is recognize times when we didn't intend to, and we still hurt our partners. That has to matter. Doesn't make me a bad person. It makes me someone who did or said something that I didn't realize was going to have the effect that it had. So when you're looking to establish safety, and you really want to observe yourself and your partner for a period of time so that you begin to know, right? You can visually see when somebody's mouth, or somebody's eye, or their posture changes, or their back bristles. Mm-hmm. I have a great story about that. Gary and I were traveling somewhere, and I don't like anybody to pack for me. It's like, don't pack for me. Mm-hmm. I will pack myself. And there was a hallway leading out of my office in a small bathroom that had a lot of my stuff in it. So I said goodbye to my client. They went out the one door and the front door. I came into the hall through the back door of the office, and he was in the bathroom packing for me. And my back bristled. My face softened. My voice said, "That's so kind. I know it's late and you thought you would be helping me." All he did was register the bristle in my back. And I said, "Look, I recognize the kind intention. I'm modulating my voice as much as I can. I'm making my face as soft as I can make it. I will not take responsibility for my involuntary motor system."
Mm-hmm. That's funny. I was
right.
Yeah. You reminded me of how the cue I see from my girlfriend is like her eyes will just narrow slightly, and her chin will go up a little bit, and I'm like, oh. I see the look, and I start giving her, I tease her a little bit, and then I back up and I go, "So what did I say that upset you?" And I kind of start probing a little bit. Like, I just want to make sure I understand for next time, so I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want you get you upset. If there was something I said, I'd like to know about it. And so
That's
everything.
High emotion.
Yeah. It's funny because she goes from like, and then she starts smiling, and then she's like, "Okay." It's really kind of funny to watch. And then, anyway, yeah. That's great. We talked about this question a little bit, but just if we can touch a little more on emotional safety. We talk about helping partners feel safe and adored. What does emotional safety look like for men, and why is it so overlooked?
Yeah, I don't know why it's overlooked, but it is so important. We're in a paradigm shift, and we're shifting out of rigid roles of the 40s and the 50s into negotiated roles. And men are talking more and more about intimacy, about wanting to be seen, about wanting to be loved, right? About making sure that they're safe. Men in the 40s and 50s and 60s didn't talk about safety. So this is, I want to say that it's equal now, for men and women of a certain generation. Maybe baby boomer men haven't quite gotten there yet, but men of all ages, no matter where they live geographically, no matter what their education or income level, they appreciate being appreciated. They appreciate being seen for their efforts, being seen and appreciated, valued.
Yeah,
they appreciate sweet comments. Mm-hmm. I love that I said to Gary, I love that you were worried about how late it was and were thinking about me. And I truly did,
Yes.
So
Yes.
we can have more than one feeling, right? And the and for me is, and don't pack for me. But it doesn't,
Right.
but it doesn't, you can, and the and is very important in conversations with our partners because it doesn't negate the caring and the love we feel and the love we express, the appreciation that we express. Mm-hmm. So safety for men is to be seen for their contribution, right? 100%. Be seen for their contribution, not for the end result. Forget the end result. We live in the moment. We don't live in the end result. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
So that's why we have to be present in the moment. And our presence means that we see men, we see our partners, and we value them, we appreciate them, and we let them know. Mm-hmm. Having the feeling inside isn't enough. We then have to language it, find our courage to be open and to actually express what we're feeling. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we're going on this trip together. I can't wait to be away with you mm-hmm. for 2 days.
Right. You remind me of this.
My life is richer with you than I could ever imagine without you.
Right. Right. You remind me of this phrase, and let me know what you think, but it's something to the effect of women want to be adored and men want to be appreciated. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not necessarily broad. It's not necessarily all, like women want all men to, adore her, and not all men want to be, it's just like, specifically in a relationship, it's what I'm thinking. It's just from the significant other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's an archetype that people talk about a lot today, and that is that men are the heroes and they want to be our heroes. They just shine being our hero. Well, yeah. And that's not it's not a bad thing. It's not a problem. Don't make it a bad thing, mm-hmm. right? The younger women sort of turn up their noses at that concept. But, what's true anthropologically and sociologically about men and women is true. It will always be true. That is not going to change. So, look at that in a way that enhances your relationship, deepens your closeness, and stay away from some of the meaning making that goes on in the culture that doesn't have anything to do with truly building lifelong, loving relationships where both people feel safe. Meaning making. Can you touch on that a little more? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, meaning making. So we live in a culture that makes meaning out of all kinds of things. And there's an agenda for people who make meaning. Men should be doing this, and men shouldn't be doing that, and women should be doing this, and this thing in the political sphere means this, and this means that. And so for example, it has meant for many, many years that artists, get a real job. It's like, whoa, someone is being their best and most brilliant, passionate self in the moment. I mean, they're really showing up in their essence. And because the culture doesn't value that, doesn't mean that we as individuals can't drop into our own values and make our own decisions about who people are being and how they're showing up. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So how do you help couples build resilience, not just to survive tough times, but to grow stronger through them?
So resilience is an interesting concept. And I think what you're really saying is, what are the behaviors, what are the actions that we can take as partners to build a relationship that can weather the storms?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And those behaviors are safety. We co-create safety for each other. In my view, that's our number one job, is to co-create safety with and for each other. That there isn't anything that we can't bring into relational space and talk about. There isn't any feeling that I will have or thought that I will have that you will judge, or that you will be affronted or offended by. It doesn't mean that I might not say something stupid and you go, ouch. We're really talking about core experiences. It's that I can be exactly who I am in your presence and be loved deeply anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It just reminds me of my girlfriend once said, well, she said it actually several times, where she feels no pressure with me because she can be herself. And that's what it sounds like it is. Just, I don't need to, keep my guard up. I don't need to try and appease you. I can just be who I am, and you're good with it.
Or I don't have to be perfect. I can get up in the morning and not put on makeup and put on sweatsuit and be just lounge around.
Yep. Yeah. I tell her, you don't need to put makeup on for me to think you're gorgeous. Come on. It's just like when we go out and stuff like that.
It's a very old carryover that some women still embrace.
Of course.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is a shared vision. Mm-hmm. If you want to build or rebuild or deepen a long-term relationship, like you're in a long-term relationship, it's good, and you want to make it great, you probably don't have a shared vision. And the shared vision should be revisited every year. Mm-hmm. Where are we going? What are we creating this year? How do we want to feel in our lives? What do we want to accomplish? How do we want to feel here? What might I need from you? What might you need from me? Mm. What are some of our shared goals that we're both working toward, and double down on those? Or perhaps next year rolls around and, we say, that goal that we had, that doesn't feel as important to me this year as it did last year. Okay. So a shared vision that gets revisited every year. Mm-hmm. So safety, a shared vision. And here's the big part, is that I tell my truth, not the truth. There's no such thing as the truth. I share my truth and am the holder of safe space for you to share your truth, so that we really want to know each other deeply, and that we hold that very safe space. And that can't be assumed. Oh my gosh. Assumptions and expectations are the death knell. Don't assume anything in your relationship. We must speak about ourselves. We have to share with our partners and then co-create what matches for both of us. Don't think well, I did everything she wanted. Did she tell you everything she wanted? Did you get that firsthand? Mm-hmm. Or do you just think you know? Mm-hmm. Because if she's unhappy, you did everything you thought she wanted, then you missed the boat somewhere. You didn't do everything she wanted, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. We are not mind readers. We need to know exactly what it is you need and want. I have two great stories about that. What makes you happy? What can I do or say that makes you feel really loved? Mm-hmm. People don't normally ask that. Well, they know. Well, heads up, you don't know. Mm-hmm. If your partner hasn't told you specifically what they need and want, and what you can do and say that will specifically make them feel loved. I mean, I can't say specifically too many times. Then you don't know. Mm-hmm. And please don't guess.
It really, I started thinking, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wanted to end by saying, thinking is guessing.
Right. And I started thinking about, I was understanding what you were saying through the eyes of someone who's already in a relationship. And then I was thinking the flip side for those, I'm going to focus on guys, those guys that have gotten out of maybe multiple relationships, and they're frustrated with themselves because, for example, say guys, the big joke I've heard is this guy walks into a therapist's office, sits down, and they start having a discussion, and the therapist is like, why are you here? And he goes, well, I don't know what's wrong with these women out here. It's my 5th divorce, and I don't know what's wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. And it always kind of comes back to like, what's the common denominator? That's you. So looking at these guys that might have gone through multiple relationships that have ended, and he's frustrated, the pillars you've mentioned already is something really, I think, informative for those guys that like, where can I start over? What do I need to do to start, working kind of like, what is it? Working backwards to find out how I can make the next relationship better.
Yeah. So I love that you're saying that, because for men that are out of relationships, the very first thing you have to do is go back to personal reflection. What do I need? Was I getting what I needed? Did I ask for what I needed? Did I know what she needed? Did I ask what she needed?
Mm-hmm.
Did I check in and ask her how I was doing, delivering on what she needed?
Yeah, love it.
Right? No reflection.
Yeah. Going back to couples, so let's touch a little bit on intimacy. So you've helped couples become lovers again. So what are some intimacy building practices men can use to rekindle passion in those long-term relationships?
So let me say first that men and women are built differently inside and outside in terms of intimacy, romance, and sex. And those three things are not the same thing. They're not the same thing. So if you're a man in a relationship with a woman, understand that romance, intimacy, and sex are different. The second thing to understand for men and women is that women are not going to have sex. I'm going to say this, and then there's a qualifier.
Sure.
Women are not going to have sex if they don't feel safe.
100%. Yep.
The qualifier is that there are women who have some wires crossed, and they will have sex to get love. They will have sex to make everything okay. They will have sex, and then after sex, they'll say, okay, we had sex, now everything's fine. Right. That's a very, very teeny tiny percentage of women, but that's I just always like to mention that when I say, because I tend to speak in broad brush. Women need to feel safe. And you won't know what makes a woman feel unsafe unless you ask. And and you don't want to, if you're dating a woman, you don't want to ask what makes her feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's too intimate a question to ask when you're dating. When you're dating, observe when you observe, right? Observe somebody who is appreciating something that you did, or you can see that there's a relaxedness about their body or their body language or their voice changes, right? Mm-hmm. You can begin to know. But when you're getting serious, then you want to say, I understand how important feeling safe is emotionally so that you and I can have a great sex life. And I want to talk about making me safe and what that means to me. And I want to know, because when women begin to shut down, they don't even know what's going on, but a woman's central nervous system will shut down well in advance of her brain saying, I don't like this behavior, or this behavior makes me feel unsafe, or this makes me feel unseen. Her central nervous system is long gone by the time her awareness kicks in and she languages what she's starting to know. That's why many women who start to shut down sexually in relationships wind up saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. They take it on. And there's nothing wrong with them. Something or some things happened along the way that caused their central nervous system to say, unsafe, unsafe, unsafe. It's one of those outside it's just like my central nervous system, my back bristling. I didn't have control over that. I know, because I have a lot of self-awareness, so I understood that happened, and I understood that's what he was reacting to. But so often when men and women don't have these conversations, women don't know that it is their central nervous system that needs to feel safe so their bodies can be vulnerable and available.
You mentioned the word. And
it's not fair.
Right. I was going to say, you mentioned the word not just unsafe, but unseen. Can you touch on that a little more? Because I think that's a really important aspect. It's not just guys going to like, oh yeah, okay, you feel unsafe, I'll make sure you're protected. We're good to go. Let's go. Come on. and just be this, I'm going to be the masculine macho alpha guy. You're good to go. And she's like, but I'm over. Are you listening to,
Right. So feelings, well, it's a feeling, it's a recognition that we're seeing is that someone, for me, as I deepen my self-awareness, that's self-knowledge. The more I can share about myself so that you can know me, that's partner knowledge. And so what you want to do is to build a gigantic library of partner knowledge so that you really know your partner. And then you can anticipate.
Yeah, that kind of just goes back to what we were just discussing and how I was mentioning my girlfriend's eyes kind of narrow and her chin goes up. Yeah, like, I got a new book. What happened? What did I say? That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Just say one more thing if I can.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
You know your questions, but it's not about communication. Many people in my field, experts in my field, are going to tell you it's all about communication. It's not. Communication has nothing to do with it. We talk all day long, right? We talk to people all day long. What we're talking about, when we're talking about dating, courting, building relationships, partnership, repairing hurts in a relationship, we're talking about vulnerable, undefended sharing, not communicating. We're sharing about ourselves, and then we're holding that deep, elegant space to listen so deeply and elegantly so that we can really know our partners as well as we can. That's why it's so important to know ourselves well, so that we know ourselves well, so we can share accurately so another person can know us.
And it should be reserved for those in your inner circle, for the person you've started trusting and you know that they can trust. I'm thinking from a man's perspective, how do they become vulnerable? And it should be basically, I think, reserved for that person who has brought some sort of foundation of trust into your life. And then to be vulnerable would be to say, this is what I struggle with. Not, and this is just my opinion, not to go around and tell everybody in a sad song way, oh my gosh, this is what just bothers me all the time, and just making this big thing of it. But for a guy to be, okay, this is my significant other. We've been together for a while. She notices things are bothering me. I'm kind of just blowing it off, and I should probably step up and go, okay, this is what I'm struggling with. And just kind of just see what happens. Just don't get them all. Just put it out there. This is someone you begin to start seeing some trust, and, a way of just saying, these are the things I struggle with on the day. Just keep it real straightforward. This is what I'm struggling with. And then that's it.
That word twice, trust.
Mm-hmm.
And trust is a giant manipulation. It's a black hole. There is no such thing as trust. Forget trust. Because I promise you, the minute you trust me to do something or not do something, I'm going to disappoint you because I'm not perfect. And I may not even understand fully what that means to do the thing that you need. So black hole and a giant manipulation, right? I trust you. And so that means that you don't do da-da-da-da-da, so you're not going to hurt me. No. The person that we trust is ourselves. We must trust ourselves. And we trust ourselves to know what we know, to know what we think, to know what we feel, to know what we want, to recognize, own, and honor that our needs are legitimate. And then we trust ourselves to be able to take care of ourselves if someone can't hear us, or ridicules us, or dismisses us, or judges us. If that happens in the dating world, what you know is you trust yourself to know what to do. And the what to do is next. That person is just, she is not walking into my life. That's done. It doesn't matter how many other wonderful things there are. There are a lot of wonderful people. The right person, and I don't believe there is just one right person. I mean, I've had two amazing marriages, married to two fabulous men, very different from each other, very different from each other. So there's not just one person, but there are the right ones. And when someone demonstrates, I know you're going to get hate mail. I'm going to get hate mail. When someone demonstrates, the first time they judge you or they ridicule you or they don't hold the space, done. Next.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that person is capable of doing that. I don't want to be with a person who's capable of doing that. And you say, oh, well, everybody does that. No, not everybody does do that. Mm-hmm. There are people who will not. I don't want to go deep into psychology, but the people who are capable of judging, dismissing, criticizing, critical people never stop being critical, by the way, never.
Pattern of behavior.
Yep. When people show you who they are, please believe them.
Actions speak louder than words. Yeah.
Yes. And when you go next, don't be scared. Don't be worried that there's nobody out there. You do the next so that you're making room and you're attracting the right one, the one who will see you and who will treasure you and for whom everything you do and say is valuable and important. And they want to hold the space for you and have the capacity to do that. Sometimes people are wonderful people, but they haven't done their own personal work, right? We're talking about high level emotional relationships. Mm-hmm. If someone hasn't done their own personal work, you are not a halfway house for people working on themselves.
Real quick, and this is a kind of a loaded question. It's sort of something that I think a few men should be aware, probably a lot of men should be aware of how to do it. A lot of guys will get caught up in I've dated her for a little while. I know my values. I know we're not aligned, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. And they wait months, maybe even years for her to decide this isn't going to work in so many words, and I'm curious your thoughts on something that men and women could use to be gentle, but to be able to hey, this to be self-respect, I'm going to move on.
Yeah. So that's a lie.
That's awesome. To wait it out, like you're not being honest.
No, that's a lie, that you don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. The truth is that you haven't found your courage to act on your own behalf. Mm-hmm. So when you hear yourself say, I don't want to hurt her feelings, you go, okay, stop. Personal reflection. What's going on inside me? And what if I hurt her feelings? Is she an adult? What like if I hurt her feelings, and maybe I will, but if I do, does she have the capacity to deal with her hurt feelings? And if she doesn't, maybe she'll figure it out and she'll go deal with, having hurt feelings. Not our job. Mm-hmm. It's like tennis. You cannot hit the ball on both sides of the net, right? You have to pick a side, and your side is your side, not their side. You cannot worry about them. And if you don't text and you don't leave a voicemail and you say to somebody, I really enjoyed the opportunity to get to know you. I know what I'm looking for in a lifelong partner. And I know that you and I are not that couple. And you didn't do anything wrong. I'm not mad or upset with you. I really value the opportunity to have gotten to know you. And I'm going to end our dating because I know that that you and I are not that couple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're reminding me of Jonah Hill and how I think he broke up. I don't know. I don't remember her name, but he broke up with this woman, and I think I don't know the time frames or something, but she basically exposed him in a way to where, their texts came out. And what you just said is basically what he said. I think he had a lot longer words and stuff, like there were paragraphs and stuff, but it was essentially the same thing. It's like, hey, it's not going to work for us. Um, you know, but she later came back and was really upset and exposed everything and said, trying to say all these bad things about it. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like, and that's what guys think about. They're like, what's going to happen if I do let her off, or just try and say, I respect you, this isn't going to work. Like I'm just letting you know that this is what guys will think about. This is like in the back of our heads, this little bit of like, well, I'm going to have to do this. How can I make it okay for me to do it?
Yeah. So here's a woman's perspective. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Let me buckle up first.
What women believe is, yeah. What women believe in general, we're talking generalities, is when the men know that you're it or you're not it, and then when they know, they're done. And it's like, well, could I have a little notice? Could you let me know? It's like, right, that when men know, they're done, they're gone. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they know before we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And I always say to women, and so is that a bad thing? For me, it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Right? I appreciate that someone knew before I did. And that isn't even true. If you are not happy in a relationship, what is true is that the other person isn't happy either. If it's not working for you, it is not working for them. And you've done both of yourselves a favor by showing up first and speaking first. People, I've worked with a lot of couples through divorce. We do a lot of amicable divorce. And I was working with divorce lawyers in Canada way before that kind of divorce, that mentality came to the United States. And years later, whoever initiated the divorce would hear from their divorce partner, I'm so glad you did that. You did what I didn't have the courage to do. You did what I wouldn't let myself know. I knew.
Interesting.
Same thing is true with, right? Same thing is true with dating. Mm-hmm. If you know, that is an obligation that you have to yourself. You don't have an obligation to another person. You have an obligation to yourself to show up and tell your truth as soon as you know it. It's the same obligation you have in a committed relationship, right? I commit to share with you whatever I know about what's going on for me as soon as I know it.
Mm-hmm. I really like that. It's an obligation to yourself, and it's a call to show some courage and speak up. Yeah.
Yes.
So you work with couples to uncover their values. Why is it important for men to understand their own values before they're trying to fix a relationship?
Values drive behavior. And it might be that you are trying to behave in a certain way that is contrary to your value for another person. That's called codependence. And there are plenty of codependent people out there. I mean, it is a bad thing, but we're not going to judge it. Well, all we want to do is say, wait a second. I have to know what I know for myself. And I have to share with you what I know, because you have a right to know what I know when I know it.
Right. Many men feel lonely, even in committed relationships. So what's behind that loneliness, and how can they begin to address it?
Yeah, it's an absence of connection. Mm. You can be in a marriage, you can be in a relationship, you can be in the same. Greta Garbo, in the movie Mata Hari. Remember when she was? It's an old movie, black and white. Greta Garbo used to say, as Mata Hari, that she could be in a room filled with people and feel so lonely, so hollow inside. And it's because we're not connected to each other. Connection is very important. Connection is energy. When we talk about connection, when we talk about dynamic, the dynamics of a relationship, we're always talking about energy. And is there a flow of energy? Is there a kink in the energy? Is somebody withholding their warmth and their caring? And then we're feeling that. Are they shut down because they're afraid? Are they shut down because they're mad? Are they shut down because they're hurt? Are we missing each other because we're not talking about what's really going on? There are so many reasons that people come out of connection. Mm-hmm. And that can happen at any point along the continuum of the relationship. Right. And if you feel lonely in your relationship, that is a red light flashing, red light. Call me now, because it doesn't get fixed by itself. If you ignore it, it will continue to disconnect more and more and more. Mm-hmm. There's a continuum that I tell people. We can have love, joy, caring. Okay, none of my degrees are in art. Okay. All right, so the center line is the center of the continuum. Can you see that?
Yes.
Is the center of the continuum. Yeah. Out to one side is joy, happiness, love, sense of humor, intuition, intimacy, great sex, inspiration, all that stuff. The other side of the continuum is hurt, anger, upset, pain, disappointment, disillusionment, all the way out to alienation. Mm. And I tell couples that they want to be somewhere between here, which is great sex, and halfway to the center. The further along this continuum you go, the more disconnection you experience. Mm-hmm. And disconnection does not get better by itself. It requires a change in attitude and in action.
I was just going to say action, yeah.
Right? Yeah, mm-hmm. Attitude and action. And if you don't figure out what's going on for you, then you can't possibly figure out how to reconnect to another person.
Of course.
Because you have to know what's going on with you before you can have a conversation about what's going on for them. Everybody contributes to where you are in your relationship in this moment. Whether you're dating or you're newly married or married 30 years, whatever you are experiencing in this moment with your partner, you have contributed to 50%. Mm-hmm. There are no victims and no perpetrators. I don't care what he did or what she said, or you have contributed to what's going on equally. Mm-hmm. And then that should take you running and screaming to personal reflection. And if you're in a relationship, to couple reflection, which is such a powerful process that I help couples learn how to do, couple reflection. Mm-hmm. But it starts with personal reflection.
And if you're not in a relationship, if you're lonely and starting to isolate yourself, I mean, there is what I keep hearing about, this loneliness epidemic for men.
Yes. The first thing that I always tell people to do, men and women, is to personal reflection. What's missing in your life? Because it's not a person. If you are that intensely lonely, a person is never going to fill you up. Mm-hmm. So we know it's not a person. You just say to yourself, okay, I thought it was a person. It's not a person. If it's not a person, what? What am I missing? You might not be engaging in activities that fill you, right? You might, and it's not that you're joining groups, but if you are a philanthropic person, how active are you in charity work? If you're a person that loves to play pickleball, or you used to play hoops with your friends, maybe you're not doing that anymore. Mm-hmm. If you love movies, are you going to movies? You know, what is not happening? And you notice all the things that I'm talking about are out of your house. Leave your house.
I was just going to say that.
All this happened
Yeah.
Yeah, a majority
Really taking action. Sorry.
Yeah, well, a majority of this kind of stuff happened during the pandemic. Everybody was affected by the pandemic, whether you realize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
None of us escaped. None of us escaped an avalanche of a lot of different experiences that most people don't talk about.
Yeah, it has really
And
carried over. Yeah.
it has really carried over. And we forgot how to interact with people. And
Mm-hmm.
this is not in
Mm-hmm.
this is not really. I mean, you and I are having an engaged conversation, a great conversation, talking about a lot of things, but there are pieces missing between us that would be present if we were having coffee and talking.
It's the
It's
important.
not. So it's not. I was just going to say, it's not, the devices aren't bad. They're not the problem. The problem is that we believe that we have replaced real connection with them,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing could be further from the truth.
It's a buffer. It's a sedative. It's a way to remove yourself by 1 degree from actually doing stuff outside or doing stuff, active things with other people. Right.
And if you and I were sitting and having coffee and having this conversation, and we, for the first time, there might be ways that we were engaging or things about us in real time that might make one of us uncomfortable or both of us uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about sedative, what we're doing is numbing ourselves from feeling uncomfortable. Well, I'm sorry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop it and decide that uncomfortable, that's a message we're giving ourselves, meaning making. Right? We're making meaning out of that. It might be that I'm actually experiencing something about you that I haven't experienced before or in a long time, and it's unfamiliar. The message I'm telling myself, the story that I'm writing is there's something wrong with it. Where it might be really exciting, it might be really neat to have an experience I haven't had, or an experience that's unfamiliar, that's stretching me. So we have to stop making meaning on things that are uncomfortable or that we don't like or that are new.
Almost like an acceptance. Be like, open the mind up a little more.
Exactly.
To see what happens. Yeah. Be open to it.
Curiosity. You need courage and curiosity.
Absolutely.
To build relationship.
You just triggered a thought in me. I grew up where asking questions was shunned. My mother once told me that her mother said, when you ask questions, it makes you look stupid. And I, have a healthcare background. You go through biology and then organic chemistry, and then you start learning about how the body works. And the only way any of that knowledge came to light is through asking questions. And so I was the person in the family that, like, but what about this and that and the other thing? It was like, no, no, don't ask that. So I've always really enjoyed people who are curious, that we can have that discussion, to be like, hey, this is how I'm thinking. What do you think? Is there something else I should be aware of? Because I would love to get somebody else's opinion or some other facts or some other reality that's going on, just to understand someone else's point of view. I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah. When let's talk about dating first.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dating, if you are a man who is curious and asks questions, then when you're dating somebody, the early in the, if you've met them in real time or you're on a device or something, one of the things you say is, I'm a person who loves to get to know people. And the way that I do that is ask questions. And I want you to know that. And if you're uncomfortable with me asking questions, just tell me. It will be fine. Just tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, what you're saying is, and next.
You're kind of putting it up there. It's like the sign is being raised. If we're not going to get...
Why would you? Why would you
Right.
spend 5 minutes with somebody when you're a curious person and you ask questions and that's how you get information? And someone says, "Yeah, no, don't ask me questions."
Right.
No,
Right.
you get to be you.
Mhm.
And you don't have to figure out how to be who she needs you to be.
Mhm.
Forget that.
Mhm.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The next thing I would say is, and I'm a person who likes to share my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions, because I have a lot of them.
Mhm.
And so I'm interested to know how that might land,
Yeah, brilliant.
right? Because some people really like to dominate the conversation and they don't want to hear so much from you. Good to know. Next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's all about
If you're in
getting to know somebody. Yeah.
Exactly. If you're in a relationship, a committed relationship, and or you're married, stop asking questions.
Mm.
Stop asking questions. Why? Because asking questions is a way to not be engaged, to not be invested, to stay safe in a committed relationship. If you're not committed, co-committed, you're committed and she knows you're committed and you know she knows and she knows you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sounds redundant, but how many people do you know that are in a relationship, but they've never actually told the other person that they feel like they're in a relationship?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah, we're in a relationship. And I always say, we're in a relationship. How long have you been in a relationship? Well, about, 7 or 8 months. Does she know you're in a relationship?
right.
Does he know you're in a relationship? Well, what do you mean? Did you
What do you mean by
did you
knowledge of understanding?
did you agree that you were going to be in a committed relationship? And committed to what? Are you emotionally exclusive? Are you sexually exclusive? Are you what are you committing to? What does that mean? People go, oh,
Right. Right. That's where I really kind of get into, we haven't talked about this, and now you have these expectations that you hoped was going to happen, but I never said anything, and now you're mad. I mean, that can go down a deep hole where if you're not expressing yourself, it could lead to some really uh, bad feelings, I guess is one way to think of it.
then I know I'm going to sound like an ogre. If you're dating somebody who has a lot of underlying expectations and assumptions about you, you cannot confront those. You can't. You think you can because you know this one and this one and this one. Well, what about the one over there that you don't know?
Mm-hmm.
Next.
So that list of expectations you see, I mean, I've seen this a lot where, oh, a guy's got to be, we're going to do the whole 6 feet tall, 6-pack abs. He has 6 figures, has good, I mean, just bump, 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 all these expectations. So no bueno.
No. That isn't even somebody who, I mean, you really want to be dating and marrying someone who is a deep thinker, who has values, who's living by a code, who is interested in who you are and what you think about things. How do you react and respond if your feelings get hurt?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are so many important things that the list of outside existential things pales in comparison, right? You really want to know, who is this person and how does he show up? My son dated a woman many years ago. She was great. We all loved her. She was really fabulous. And Jeremy is a person who spent a year in college in Europe, has traveled all over the world.
Nice.
Works in an industry. Knows people all over he has lots of men and women who are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they're friends for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was uncomfortable with his women friends and wanted him to stop seeing them, stop talking to them, stop being friends with them.
I'm sorry, who wanted who to stop seeing who? So Jeremy had female friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, the woman. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't clear.
No. You're good.
And he said, yeah, that's not going to happen because I'm a person with a lot of friends and I'm a man who has women friends and I'm a man in an industry that has a lot of women in it.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, no. But here, how about this? How about if I start inviting you to lunch and you can meet them and you can see me with them and you can feel and experience the energy and listen to no, I don't want to meet them. I don't want to know them. I don't want you to see them.
She said that.
She had a history that I well understood as a psychologist and that made her feel that way.
Sure.
But that was not his problem.
Right.
Like, next.
Right.
And we were all very sad because everybody really liked her for lots and lots and lots of reasons, but that was not going to be okay.
Yeah, that's kind of
so you have to.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You have to spend time with people. Well, the reverse is true. There are a lot of people today, men and women, who really don't want their partners on social media with old flames or old lovers or old friends from college.
Mm-hmm.
You would be probably very surprised at the number of breaking in the process of being repaired relationships because somebody started connecting with an old flame or an old lover or an old even friend from college and never said anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see how that'd be a problem.
Right, there are so many of these kinds of things. But let me just finish my thought about don't ask questions when you're in a relationship. Don't. Stop with the questions. I say to my clients, we're suspending all questions. It's important to share. I message feedback is your new best friend. I think, I feel, I need, I want. When you say, what do you want for dinner? We'll do it this way. I say to you, what do you want for dinner? And you say, oh, anything you want to do. You are not present. You're not showing up. You haven't given me anything to bump into energetically. So I come to you and I say, I would love to go grab a salad. I could do a steak and potatoes, but I think I'd really love a salad. And then you stop talking. I'm stepping into relational space. I'm showing up and letting you know what I would like to eat for dinner. I might even say, could we go to Al's? Because I'd love to go there. And then you can say, that sounds good. I'd love that. Or you could say, I've really been thinking about, what about? And now you're interacting, you're relating. The minute you say, the minute any partner says, I don't care, whatever you want, you are abdicating your obligation to step in and show up. It's not okay. So that's why in relationship, you don't want to ask questions. And as you said to your girlfriend, you stepped in first, you went first. I'm noticing your eyes a little bit. So it's clear to me that I did or said something. I don't know what it is and I want to know. Right? That's why I said high emotional intelligence in so many ways. You could have said, not you, a man could say, what did I do? What's going on now? Now what's wrong? With contempt, with criticism, with a real lack of caring. And then you either get into a fight because she says nothing. It's like, yeah, no, not nothing. Or, well, when you said this, I felt that. And a person that's going to go, what do I do now? What's wrong? She says, with courage and clarity and openness, well, when you said this, I felt that, goes, you're so sensitive.
That's like a double discontinue, just counting, like 2 times, just right? Within seconds. And if that happens all the time, no wonder she would feel unseen. And
unsafe. What do you think her central nervous system is doing?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. He doesn't hear me. He doesn't listen to me. What is going on? I could see that just escalating. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I message feedback. Yeah. You're stepping into relating.
Yeah. One of the things I'm totally getting off track, but one of the things you just said about the question, I know not within a relationship, but still, if significant other comes to the guy or something and says, "Hey, what would you like for dinner?" That should be a cue in the guy's brain to say, she's looking for guidance, she's looking for feedback, she wants to engage, and she wants a decision. Like, "Hey, I'm glad you asked that. Let's go to this place. I'm just craving a steak. We go to this place all the time. It's just, I would just love to take you there. I think we'd have a great time again, make it a real fun night." The whole, "What would you like for dinner? Do you want me to make something?" Just to have that engagement. It's almost like I'm asking you to engage. And for a guy to be like, "I don't care." Or even to feel like some guys have that feeling of, "Oh, I want her to lead the relationship. I want her to make the decisions. I don't want to make those decisions because I don't want to upset her in any way." "Oh, whatever you want, honey," thinking this is a safe way of dealing with her.
Yes, thinking that I'm going to be easygoing, I'm going to be laid back, I'm going to be Mr. Nice Guy.
Mr. Nice Guy. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
And it's
like, oh, yeah.
hostile, cold, and it's not engaging.
Not engaging.
That's how it feels on the other end of Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
See, there's always two energies at play.
Right. Really keying into a woman wants to feel safe. And these are just cues of, "Hey, I'm asking, I'd like to be safe." And then what are you going to say in return? And that should be every guy's cue to be like, "Oh gosh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's something for me to think about rather than ignore it, to engage, to.
So what you want to say is the best possible response is, let's have a chat and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move into we and figure out what we want to do. We includes, what do you want to do? What do I want to do? What do we want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's chat and figure it out.
Yeah. That's so funny. It's so fun. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Everything's going off in my head. Like, oh, there was this example I did with my girlfriend, and sorry, go ahead.
Because if she's asking you, then she's not feeling safe enough to say I. She's not in the I message feedback place yet. Mm-hmm. She's still working on stepping into that. This sounds so basic and so easy. Wait until you try this for a day. Mm-hmm. It's really hard work. It's really hard to say I. And then, I hear a lot, well, I don't want to be a narcissist. I don't want it to be all about me. If you are using iMessage feedback and you're saying, hey, I would love, I like, I would prefer, I don't think I like, you're giving that person information. That whole, this whole overused characterization of narcissist makes me crazy. Mm-hmm. Are there narcissists in the world? Yes. If somebody is showing up and letting you know who they are and what they want, that is not being a narcissist. You might have trouble with someone being direct. That's your problem. Don't make it the other person's problem, and don't pathologize that. Don't make an inaccurate attribution of who's being a narcissist. There are plenty of guys in the world who just don't have a level of emotional availability and emotional intelligence. Doesn't make them a narcissist.
Right. This is great going into the next question. How does a man or a woman overcome narcissistic traits in a partner during or after a relationship?
Partners, if your partner is narcissistic, really forget it. Find the door. But narcissistic men, narcissistic women too, narcissists are, there's a quality of meanness, of coldness. And so when you talk about traits, let's name them differently. Let's say that you're with somebody and he's not including you in a way you would like to be included. Or let's see, what's another way to say that? Partnering. You want to partner more. Those are dynamics. Those are behaviors and actions rather than characteristics. And you can bring this up if you're in a relationship for a number of years. And it might just be that your partner is habituated behavior. And it may take a little time for them to get out of that. I do work with women, interestingly enough, whose partners do not want to do any couples coaching. And it's very, very effective, because if you and I are dancing same step and I suddenly change the step, we're still dancing, but we're not dancing the same step. And so for men, it's almost like what's happening here? What's different here? And that is often how the whole relationship dynamic shifts, is when one person has the courage to say, this isn't working for me, and I'm going to take a look at what I need and how I should be showing up in alignment with who I am and what I need and want. And let me know what your experience is.
You remind me of a friend of mine. She is separated from her husband of 25 or 30 years. I can't remember. What happened was she sought some counseling, had some epiphanies, realized a lot of the trauma she experienced as a child carried over to the adult relationship. Some of her behaviors were very toxic, and she became very self-aware, if you will. 6 months after this epiphany, her husband is still saying, I don't know who you are, who this person is. I spent all this time with you, and now this is who you think you are. This is who you are now. It's completely different. But the issue, and I'm just kind of saying this as an observation, not necessarily to have a question or anything here, but it was more of like, she's like, well, I've changed now, so you're either on board or not. It was like this ultimatum came out, and I was like, oof. And I said to her, I'm like, I can understand why you say that. It's like, okay, you said that. Just keep in mind, he has decades of you as this one person. And now you're asking him to accept this new person. And you're giving him an ultimatum. Just throwing that out there so you know where he's coming from. He's going to struggle with that. Just letting you know. And that was it. But yeah, that's what you're reminding me of, is just when you start finding who you really are, but the other person is going to have to get up to speed with that. It's going to take a little while. You're dancing different way. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought we were doing the cha-cha. What's going on?
Right. Yeah. And I say or not because they both deserve to be happy. Mm-hmm. And if this is not what he signed up for and he doesn't want to get on board, then they have grown apart. And this is the one of the legitimate divorce situations.
Sure.
Where the men, or this may have, men have midlife crises too. Mm-hmm. And women might say, not what I want, not who I married, not who I thought you were. And I don't even like this person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Why the divorce rate is so high today, over 32 years. We have more divorces over 32 years, 32-year marriages than ever before. Why? Because people get to the place that we're talking about where they're becoming aware that they're not happy or they're ill. Illness promotes a lot of this kind of stuff. Having a heart attack, have cancer diagnosis, generates lots of this kind of introspection, personal reflection, personal work. And people will wind up saying, I could live another 15 or 20 years. I'm not living in the next 20 years the way I lived the last 32.
Right. I'm going to do a quick pause. We're going to do some middle intros, just so you know. Okay. If something Dr. Jackie said is resonating with you, pause for a moment. Take a breath. This podcast isn't just about listening. It's about living differently. So if you're ready to explore your own emotional clarity, rebuild connection, or simply feel more seen in your relationships, share this episode with someone who needs it. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and leave a review. Your voice helps this community grow and helps more men find the healing they deserve. Let's continue. Thanks. Thanks, Dr. Jackie. So companionship. I appreciate that. Thank you. Companionship and partnership. You warn that becoming just companions can be disastrous. What's the difference between companionship and true partnership?
Sex.
Wait, what is it really? Sex? Yeah.
I mean, we can be wonderful companions, but we don't have sex. Companions don't have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Partners are connected on all levels: emotional, physical, sexual, financial, mental. I forgot one, but spiritual, right? And it doesn't mean that we go to church or synagogue or the mosque together. That's not what spiritual alignment means. Yeah, but when we start becoming just friends, it's a metaphor for we stop having either great sex, which then waxes and wanes to not having sex, believe it or not, or there's just no sex.
Mm-hmm.
And the percentage of sexless marriages in the US only is phenomenal. There was a study done. I'm not a researcher and I don't remember statistics well. So this is around the statistics, approximately, that 40% of marriages, that one I know, 40% of marriages are happy. Happy people in marriages are happy 80% of the time. So the research says. Okay. So 40% of the couples who are happy are unhappy 20% of the time. That is a lot of unhappiness.
Mm-hmm. I guess it all comes down to how do you define happiness too?
Well, I don't know.
Not to go into the weeds, but yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
With my partner, I want to feel ease. I want to feel safe. I want to laugh at jokes. I want to enjoy his presence. Mm-hmm. I want to be enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I want there to be a level of curiosity, of engagement. How am I? What am I doing? What am I up to? What am I thinking about? Right? I want that energy to be really activated. Does that mean we don't have quiet time? We have solitude, not loneliness. We have quiet time. We have alone time. Might do a girls' trip. We might do a guys' trip. But the core of our connection is engaged and energized all the time.
Oh,
isn't that why we get married? Do you get married for fine? Mm-hmm. Not me. Fine is not okay. Fine is unacceptable.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Okay. Fine's for a friendship. Oh, friendship's fine. Yeah, we're fine. That's a friendship, not for a relationship, not for a marriage, not 100%. 100%.
And the thing that happens that causes people to wax and wane and slip into just friends is fear. Nobody wants to bring it up. Mm. Men don't want to say, I want more sex, because you know how that's met.
I'll hold my comments. Right.
And women talk about romance and intimacy because they don't know how to talk about what's going on with their central nervous system and that they don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. That they want to feel safe. Women are too scared to say, I miss what we used to have. I miss us. I miss the way we used to be. Mm-hmm. They don't have the language. And that's why I love doing podcasts and this kind of communication, bigger, because there are ways to talk to each other about what's really going on. And we're not really talking about sex, because we're talking about the thing that we feel that we get from each other and from having sex when having sex is a miracle, mm-hmm. an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that oxytocin? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Dopamine. It's all,
yeah.
So those are the tough conversations that I talk about. Mm-hmm. So the reason that you want to co-create your shared vision and telling your personal truth and doing all of that is so that you can have the tough conversations. You can come to each other and say, I have something really hard and scary to share with you. When would be a good time to talk? because I really want to talk to you. I want you to know what's happening for me.
Mm-hmm. And that's just being you. Like I'm letting you know I want to be vulnerable. I'm letting you know that there's something going on that I'd like to talk to you about.
Being vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. You help clients explore who they are and how they operate. How can men develop self-awareness that leads to healthier relationships?
So there's an exercise that I ask men to do. And that is, you can do this in any variety of ways. You can, if you have a big backyard, you can take a walk somewhere and pick up rocks. And then you can decorate rocks, 5, tell you why in a minute. Mm-hmm. You can have big flashcards, you can have small flashcards. I want men to become very good observers of their feelings and not default to their doing, to really develop the feeling part of self. And in English-speaking countries, in Western culture, men are excellent doers. And you have to be comfortable and make friends with your feelings as you would a tiny sparrow in the park, very gently, very respectfully, before you can hold the space for somebody else's feelings. And relationships are feeling based. The normal, natural feelings that human beings have, all human beings, mad, sad, glad, afraid, and guilty. So each of the rocks will be named one of the corresponding feelings. Then through personal reflection, you'll say to yourself, when I feel mad, where in my body do I feel mad? Do I clench my teeth? Do I furrow my brow? Do I clench my shoulders come up to touch my ears? What is going on? What are the words? If my anger had words, what does my anger say? What's the tone of my voice? There's a longer, more complicated version that's so powerful, but these are sort of the cliff notes. Mm-hmm. Do that for each feeling. If you're sad, how do you know you're sad? Well, maybe your shoulders collapse, maybe you hang your head, maybe your mouth turns down. It's different for every person. And you may not know. You may not be comfortable being sad, and so you haven't shown sadness, so you might not know where in your body you feel sad. And then there are ways to explore that. So when a feeling comes up, you can either flip through your cards, mad, sad, glad, afraid, guilty. Mad, sad, glad, afraid, guilty. And the third time around, mad, glad, sad. Take the sad card out. And on the card, you've talked about the way that you feel in your body, what the body sensations might be, what the words might be, what your tone of voice might be. Similarly, if you have a big backyard or a backyard and you've got room to place the 5 rocks and then you run around the rocks twice and then you land on the rock, on the angry rock. How does my body feel? And if you have kids, do this with your kids, right? This doesn't have to be a secret. You don't have to do it in the closet. You can really, it's an amazing experience to access the other part of your humanity. And you don't have to make apologies or be embarrassed. There's no shame around it. And so you might, if you've got kids, you say, I'm feeling something. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to go run around my feeling rocks. And if you want to run around with me, you can. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Having feeling is so necessary to be in a relationship. And you will find men or women, mostly men, unfortunately, in this culture because of how they're acculturated, that the more in tune they are with their feelings, the more interested they are, the more they notice what's going on around them, the more space they have. Mm-hmm. It's not a burden, and it's not, okay, I have 5 minutes.
Right. I would add another item to that behavior, and I'd like to know what you think. To have that feeling discussion with your closest male friends that you have. The call to be like, hey, I just need 8 minutes of your time. I just need to talk about what's going on with me. I have a buddy of 30 plus years. He's gone through stuff in his relationship. I've gone obviously through stuff in my relationships. And once a week we chat. And it always, we talk football and what's going on out in the world. And then after 5 minutes of that kind of chit chat, we get into what's going on with our relationships. And it's just like this going back and forth venting session. And it's like, it could last 10 minutes. It could last 2 hours. It just depends on what's going on. But after that, I feel like $1,000,000. I think he feels better. I want to talk to him, but it's like, oh, now I feel great. I'm going to go out and run around and I'm going to get my stuff done. And it's very energetic to have such a close guy friend that you can kind of be vulnerable with your emotions as a guy.
It's also validating. When two men share on that level and they hold respect for each other, with each other, caring, it's validating. There's nothing wrong with me. Oh, okay, I'm not. He's doing it too. And then you hear it and you see it back and forth. It's so powerful. I love that you have that.
Oh,
and that
thank you.
Has contributed massively to your high emotional intelligence.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, we've gone through discussions where I've called him up and I'm like, I'm feeling just horrible in the gutter. This and this happened to me. I'm basically just beating myself up internally in my head. And outwardly, he's like, it really isn't a big deal. You're punishing yourself way more than, and here's the reality and blah, blah, blah. He's like, but I can understand why you would feel that way because he knows my history. He knows how I grew up. He knows about, everything else. So that just alone is very, very helpful being like, oh, okay. And he's very supportive. I mean, everything he just said. And it's very, very valuable. It's very valuable.
And you're saying something very important. You are talking about your feelings and you're present. Mm-hmm. You're not being your feelings. Right? So you're not being grumpy and angry. You're not being sad and crying. And there's a real misunderstanding about feelings and the purpose of your feelings. Your feelings are a barometer of your outside existential experience. They tell you inside yourself what's going on for you. Unless you have unconscious material that is making itself known to you, and there are times in our lives that happens. Other times we are called to explore experiences we're having, our feelings from something that happened outside of us. It's so important to understand that when we're talking about our feelings, we're not being our feelings. We're being our feelings when we are feeling sad. When you dial the phone, how old am I? When you pick up the phone and you call your friend.
Sorry, that was funny. Sorry, go ahead.
And you have this vulnerable, open, powerful conversation. You're being present. You're in your integrated adult, and you're able to share from a deep place and receive feedback.
Yeah, I love that. It's a difference of, and tell me if I'm thinking of this wrong, but when and I've done this where there's going to be like a confrontation, there's going to be some kind of episode where you feeling like this is going to be a big deal because I know this other person's not going to take it well. And for me, it was getting really emotional. Starting to just get really emotional, get really defensive, and get on the phone and just be like, well, you're doing this and this and this, and blah, blah, blah. And it just ends really poorly. Is that kind of what you're talking about being in that state of emotion?
Yes. When you are activated, we call that being dysregulated. And I talk a lot about being dysregulated and learning how to regulate, self-regulate, and then co-regulate. And again, we're talking about your central nervous system. And there are some very specific methods to regulate yourself when you become dysregulated. And for anybody listening, when you have kids, your kids, from the time they learn how to talk until they're well into adult years, get dysregulated on a regular basis. And what happens in families is that the kids become dysregulated because that's their job. They're doing the thing that they need to do developmentally. But what happens is that parents, adults, become dysregulated, and in the presence of children becoming dysregulated. You can't parent, you can't partner, you can't lead from a place of dysregulation.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. And then co-regulating is a really beautiful thing that we can do as two adults who have self-regulated in relationships. Very, very powerful.
You've coached couples across cultures and countries. What's one transformational moment that stands out in your work with men?
I would say across cultures, it is when men tap into their own being.
Can you expand upon that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was at the Johannesburg Country Club doing a couples breakfast one Saturday morning, many years ago. And I had a half moon, the couples, there were 2 or 3 couples at a table and a half moon, and then a chair in the empty half moon so that I could come to the table and then drag my chair wherever I wanted to take it and work with whoever I wanted to work with. So as I'm speaking after breakfast, one of the women at one of the tables started to cry a little bit, and her husband turned to her and said, "Do you know what she's talking about? Do you feel like that?" And I stopped talking, and they knew that I worked in this very personal way, so they weren't offended or anything. And she looked at me, and she looked at him, and she said, "Yes, exactly." And he looked at her, and he was dumbstruck. He was heartbroken. He wasn't mad at her. He was heartbroken to think that he actually was behaving in ways that caused her to feel that way. And when I work with couples, that is the moment when that breakthrough moment, when they actually get it in a deeper place, not in their left brain.
A sense of empathy, it sounds like, is realized.
Yes, and a real caring. I mean, these are men who love their wives, right? You don't spend a lot of money and sit with a psychologist in a brunch on a Saturday morning unless you really enjoy, right? I mean, these are men who showed up.
Right.
And then, wow, what? Yeah.
That was like a little bit about the communication aspect of it that you mentioned earlier. Like, you should know what's going on with me, but if I'm saying something to you, that should be a cue to be like, okay, what's really going on here? What's really happening? And start going deeper into that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, his question, do you feel that way?
And then her answer just
everything that was going on in his mind about what's going on, what did I do? I didn't do it. What is she saying? What does this mean? Because that's all the subcontext is. What is the implication about me, for me, if this is actually going on in my relationship?
Oof. And I'm guessing they were together for quite some time?
Yes, they had been together for a long time. Yeah. And she felt very isolated in the marriage and didn't know what was wrong. And they loved each other. They had children and families, and just like, what is going on?
Do you think that she felt unseen?
Yes. I think his idea of her is what he related to in when they related to each other. His idea of her, not her.
Right. And she was like, no, you're not getting it, man. You're not getting it. That's powerful. Your tagline is make every day feel like your honeymoon, if I'm accurate with that. What are some daily romance rituals men can use to keep love alive?
Yep, we're back to you didn't sign up for fine, right? And
Right.
it's not acceptable, right?
Right.
So how we know what that was, and a lot of people would say, I want that. I don't know what's happening here. I want that.
Mhm.
So there are very small things that men can do. One of them is a touch. You'd be surprised how many relationships have become logistical, and small touches are just lost in the logistics.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm not talking about a bear hug, because depending on how disconnected you are, a bear hug might feel like a violation,
Sure,
might feel
sure.
more unsafe.
Right, right.
So a squeeze on somebody's shoulder, on non-sexual places,
Mhm.
right, on a shoulder, or
Mhm.
a kiss on the top of the head quickly on your way by,
Mhm.
or as you're squeezing past each other in a room or the kitchen, you know where her hands are. I mean, they're here or they're here, right?
Mhm.
Just take a hand, and unless she's cooking, and just give a little squeeze. You don't even necessarily have to make eye contact, because eye contact can also be too intimidating and too much intimacy.
Mhm.
So a touch.
Mhm.
The other thing is words. Every day, words of appreciation. I'm
Yes.
so glad that we are together. I'm so happy you're in my life. Have I told you today that I love you?
You are
And then,
oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, you go. I don't.
I was going to say,
I can.
you're reminding me of James Sexton, the divorce lawyer out of New York. He has a book out there called If You're in My Office, It's Too Late. So he's obviously seen a lot of divorces and the whole bit. And one of the things he mentioned in his book is what you're saying now. He suggests, put up post-it notes, just a post-it note like on the fridge or somewhere, where she can see it. Like if you're leaving for work in the morning and she's, still getting up or something and you're leaving early, just leave a little post-it note saying, thinking of you, I love you, can't wait to see you tonight. Just something, just something. And he's like, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It takes 10 seconds. It lets her know you're thinking
Literally.
of her. Yes. Yes.
Yes, that's my third one. My
Mhm.
fourth one is a surprise.
Mhm.
A surprise, not every day, every week. A surprise. It can be bringing home her favorite ice cream,
Mhm.
right? Or calling and saying, or leaving in the morning and saying, don't worry about dinner. I'm bringing dinner, right? Stay in bed. I've got the kids. I've enrolled your mother, and we're going to meet you for lunch. Take the morning,
Mhm.
right? Just again, things that say, I see you, I get you, you matter to me, and this is my effort. I'm making an effort.
Sure. Some acknowledgement, some show of concern, of care, of love, appreciation. Yeah. I love it.
Appreciation. Every you don't have to take the kids every morning, but every
Yeah.
day show some bit of appreciation,
Something.
right? If you and a daily ritual, create a daily ritual. This is the most important one. So if I usually do the dishes, drag a chair in from some room and sit with me for 5 minutes while I'm doing not the whole time I'm doing the dishes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and say, I want to spend about 10 minutes with you just hanging out.
Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't
You
take
might
much.
say, right? It might be, you might be going for a walk with the dog. I'm going to walk with you. There's nothing to do, nothing to say, no problem solving. Just going to hang out with you and the dog for a
Hmm.
10-minute walk.
Hmm. Something, just something.
Something that you already do,
Hmm.
you decide to do it together. So you're not creating a ritual that isn't already part of your day. Because if I asked you to do that, you wouldn't do it.
Hmm.
But if I'm inviting you to create a ritual out of something that you already do, and it's something that you do daily together.
Right. Right.
And at night, some people don't like doing it at night. It might be after dinner. It might be after, if you have kids, you put the kids to bed. But a moment to say, how was there anything that happened today that you want to share with me?
Mm.
Is there anything that I missed that you want me to know?
Mm-hmm.
because I want to know, what worked particularly well today?
Right.
What was the best part of you?
Right.
Just a brief touching. Now, I have clients who have created really wonderful rituals. They have 3 questions they ask each other. They go into a part of their house. They have 3 little candles. They light the candles. And each time they ask the question, answer the question, they blow out the candle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can be as little or as much as you want it to be. It's the intention. It is your deliberate intention that increases the quality of your interaction and your engagement with each other, your connection.
So when a man does those little things, I'm trying to think of how does that resonate within a woman?
It is a little gift of being seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get to share with you the best part of my day or something that I wish had gone better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit more about me. I wouldn't necessarily think to tell you about it because it's little. It's like, in the scope of important things that we talk about. But it's not little. It's so big because it's personal.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the opportunity to really be personal with each other.
A guy might
And
think
we're talking about experience.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
And it's very good practice for men because you're listening to your partner's experience and you're sharing your experience, which might be a stretch for you to share an experience and be vulnerable.
I was just going to say that, like, a man might think, oh, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. But it might be a big deal to her. So it's almost just, let's talk about it. Don't make a judgment because it could be something huge to her. And maybe she just needs to talk about it, get it out, and let that resonate for a little bit.
Be aware of your language. Big deal, not a big deal, huge for her.
Right.
It's an experience, and we don't qualify or quantify experiences. Only the left brain does that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Experiences that you're sharing are rich, and it's the richness that infuses life into the connection.
You help couples repair the hurt in their hearts. What's one healing practice men can use to rebuild emotional trust after betrayal or distance?
So there's no trust. You're not rebuilding trust because you're never going to trust her to do or not do anything. But you're going to rebuild connection.
Mm-hmm.
Going to rebuild connection. So it can be that you want to have more physical connection. It can be that it's the question is too big. I'm not saying you're asking a question that's too big. I'm saying the vastness of the experiences that cause men to emotionally take a step back is unknowable. That said, go back to iMessage feedback. I love you. I'm committed to you, to us. I love our us. And right now, I feel a little like I've taken a step back, or it might be safer to say, I've taken a little step to the side. Even if you take a little step back, it could terrify some people, men and women.
Sure.
So I feel, and you don't want to talk about shutting down because you really haven't shut down. That's a metaphor that isn't even accurate. So you just want to say, I've just moved my openness, and tell her what you've moved, not my love. I love you. And my openness, my curiosity, my energy for us is I've just taken a little step to the side. And I want to step back in fully and be present with you and have you be present with me. And I don't know how to do that.
And that's going to take a lot. That's going to take time.
Oh, always tell the truth. And I don't know how.
Yes.
And I'm not asking you to help me. I'm sharing this with you and I'm saying, I want you to know I want to do this. And then you can't imagine all the things that will come from that conversation, because the thing that's going on at the same time as your head is saying, what can I do? What can I say? What do I do? And what you're actually doing is stepping back in, because you're open, because you're inviting her to know you. You're actually doing the thing that you want to do.
Mm-hmm. What legacy do you hope your work leaves behind? And how can men think about the legacy they're building in their relationships?
Yeah, living legacies are really interesting. That's one of the reasons that I wrote my 3 books, is I wanted it to be out there in some form that would survive me. For me, I so get that fine is not acceptable. And so if there's one thing that I would love people to say about me after I die, besides my children saying that sometimes I'm recalcitrant, is she really helped us to love each other better.
Mm. Mm-hmm. No, that's beautiful. Yeah. We've covered a lot today, Dr. Jackie. I've been trying to write down notes on everything, like safety versus unsafe, seen versus unsafe, seen versus unseen, narcissism. I mean, we've covered a lot today. Before we sign off, I just wanted to, give you the opportunity to let people know how they can find you and find your work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that opportunity. You can go to my website, which is drjackieblack.com. You can go to Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Jackie Black. And you can either DM me, or there's some links to some downloads. There's all the Instagram stuff, so you get a sense of, it says all the stuff that we said today. You can send me an email, which is drjackie at drjackieblack.com. So the website has a link to my calendar, to my online calendar. And so if you have a question, if you'd like to have a conversation, I'm available to do that. Because sometimes we can tweak something that you're doing. Not everybody needs or wants to do couples coaching on a consistent basis. And I work with my clients either 4 hours, 5 hours, or 6 hours a month, and they decide. And I work in 45 minutes, 60 minute, 90 minute, 120 minute periods of time, because there's a lot to say. And some people have a lot of energy and they can do a 90-minute or a 2-hour session. Some people are exhausted after doing this kind of introspective work, and 45 minutes is about as much as they can do. I do something that other people don't do, if I can take a minute to say that.
Of course.
Life happens outside of appointments, outside of coaching. And I am absolutely available for clients. If you're having an issue, then you can text me, you can WhatsApp me, and we'll jump on the phone. We can do voice texts if you want. We can do a quick phone call so that you're not upset overnight, or it doesn't wreck the whole day. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm engaged with somebody and I know you and you know me, there are shortcuts. There are what are those ways that where I can say something to you and you already have a lot of the background and you can go, yes, I forgot about that. I can do that. Sure. We can jump on the phone or on a Zoom call together, the 3 of us. So I've always done that. I am available when my clients are available. It's interesting. I have clients from one part of the world who were going to be in Europe, and they wanted to do a family vacation, did not want to miss their session. And so I agreed to do 3 o'clock in the morning, my time was 10 o'clock in the morning in Paris, so that they could have the kids be doing whatever they were doing. They could have their session and then have their day. So I really am here when my clients need me and at their convenience. They don't work at my convenience.
That's amazing.
That's something that you,
yeah.
It really, one of the distinguishing.
I was just going to say, yeah, that kind of flexibility is really unheard of. And so that's really amazing. You're doing that for your clients. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And you can cancel appointments, reschedule as much as you want. I mean, you're busy and you need to talk to me when it's convenient for you, not when it's convenient for me.
Right. I mean, I think that's really wonderful. I mean, that's that kind of flexibility and understanding of your clients and how busy they are. I think that's invaluable. That's great. That's great.
Thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I just wanted to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And being on the show. This is great. Or being on the podcast. This is great.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Dr. Jackie reminded us today that love isn't a feeling, it's a practice. One that requires courage, curiosity, and a willingness to be seen. Whether you're rebuilding a relationship, deepening emotional intimacy, or simply learning to show up more fully, know this, you're not alone. Again, I want to thank you, Dr. Jackie, for joining me. Thank you all for joining me on the Glen Gilbert Connection. Until next time, keep seeking clarity, keep choosing growth, and keep showing up for yourself and for those you love. Thank you so much.